Welcome to the Council of Europe in Strasbourg for this new edition of the interview on France 24. I'm here to attend the first edition of the World Forum for Democracy, an event that has brought together leaders, human rights activists and journalists. They're here to discuss the future of democracy in our ever-changing world. Now, I'm glad to be joined by Sali Berisha, the Prime Minister of Albania. Mr. Berisha, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Your country currently holds the rotating presidency of the Council of Europe, so you're one of the main organizers of this human rights forum. What do you expect from it?
I found it a very important, interesting forum, and this is the oldest European temple on human rights, and you have seen representatives from many nations joined it, and they are debating about vital importance of human rights and prosperity development. There are people from different countries, different races, different religions, different views. I think it's up to the very core of permanent agenda of this institution.
As you said, the Council of Europe was founded after the Second World War. It is Europe's largest human rights body, but many say it's lost much of its influence after following the end of communism and the Cold War. Is it still relevant?
I don't think that it had lost. I think it had helped enormously nations that joined European Union. Now there are so many other nations which on the path of consolidating democracy and free market, and they have in this institution a great institution which will, its think tanks is very helpful to them. But also this is in one of the largest rooms of debate and exchange of views, which is helpful. But next to them, Arab Spring countries, and the agenda of our presidency is to work closer with these countries in order to make them profiting from large experiences and expertises of the Council of Europe. So its role, it's still crucial, and one thing is sure: human rights, markets, and freedoms, as long as there is a reversibility of the choices, are always to be protected, are always to be consolidated, are always to be developed.
Russia is the largest member here at the Council of Europe. Some say that the problem with Russia is that it's not interested in human rights. We've seen it with Pussy Riots, they say. Has Russia become a problem for the credibility of this institution?
Definitely it has some serious problems, but still a vivid debate is about all these matters. And I think the dialogue and debate are helpful and important. Russia is here and is a very important member, but also it faces here a reality which in a way or in another will positively influence it.
Sali Berisha, as Prime Minister of Albania, are you yourself happy about the state of democracy in your country?
I believe the democracy is to be consolidated, but what it is very important, democracy is also to be learned, If you look at my country, it faced 2 years long a boycott from the opposition with no legal reason. But now opposition is working in parliament, and we managed to complete some very important reforms. One of them was election reforms, and another which I consider very historic, this removal of immunities in Albania. And it was voted 1 month ago. So There are
Immunity of MPs and judges.
MPs, judges, and all. There is no more immunity as regard to corruption and common crime in my country, which definitely will have a very positive effect in the strengthening of rule of law. So, democracy is progressing in my country, is consolidating in my country, but also it has a lot to go ahead, to proceed.
Now, leading NGOs and the European Union are saying there's still a lot to do to tackle corruption and organized crime. Who is responsible for this bad reputation?
Look, let's take organized crime. Albania tackled, dismantled more than 206 criminal groups and organizations. It apprehended and put to justice more than 1,000 members of and bosses of these criminal organizations. If you look at my country, when I came in power, there have been 1,800 prisoners, and now there are around 5,000. That is, the law is enforced in my country, and indices of serious crimes are lower than the average of European Union. As regard to corruption, and still there is organized crime, but there is a very efficient fighting against it. Let's come to corruption. Albania a few years ago ranked amongst 24 most corrupted countries. Albania, according to World Bank, have had around every year lost from evasions and smuggling more than 1.4 billion US dollar. But what the situation is now, still there is corruption, but there is a very strong fighting against it. In this 6 years, my country got from customs and taxes more than 8.3 billion US dollar, and not by increasing taxes. The taxes were decreased. We have one of the most transparent systems in the world about procurement. We become the first full e-procurement country in the world 2009. We are a country, the most privatized one. That is, more than 84% of our GDP is coming from private sector. There is a policy of penalization as regard to corruption. There is still corruption, but a strong fighting against it.
And precisely this week, the European Commission will publish its report on Albania's progress towards EU membership. Are you hoping to receive candidate status, something you've been waiting for many years?
Hopefully, yes. We expect a positive avis from the European Commission. But I always had kept this principle that it should be a fully deserved process. We have had a problem.
Does Albania deserve candidate status?
In my view, yes, but it's not myself to assess. It's EU Commission and EU member states to assess Albania's progress and achievements.
Why is joining the European Union so important for your country? After all, the Union is going through an almost existential crisis.
It's true the Union is facing a real, very serious crisis, but it's true the other side that this has not at all lowered or damaged the Albanian support for EU membership. More than 94% of my fellow citizens support this project. I think they are smart people because they believe, and they're right to believe, that in this process they become more free, they become more secure, they become more prosperous. That's why the government is obliged to do its best to work upon this project.
Several polls have indicated that Europeans suffer from so-called enlargement fatigue, probably partly because of the crisis. Do you still feel welcome?
Definitely there is not a warmth about enlargement, but still doors are open. And the Commission do a very serious work in helping preparing my nation, but also with all other countries in this process. Look, this is a very, very helpful process to our nation because it's a process, a universe of norms, standards, criteria, which really makes citizens more free, more secure, more rich, more prosperous. That's why it's a process worth to be followed.
Sali Berisha, Prime Minister of Albania, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure for me.
And thank you for watching this edition of the interview from Strasbourg, from the Council of Europe. We'll now cross over to Paris for more news.